Amber ran into the storm, leaving the house and its dark secrets behind. Or so she thought. Amber ran until her legs gave out, collapsing under the cover of a nearby forest. Rain soaked her through, but the cold was nothing compared to the icy fear clutching her chest. She glanced back toward the house. It loomed in the distance, a silhouette against the stormy sky. Her phone buzzed again. You didn't escape. You only made it worse. Amber hurled the phone into the trees, but the buzzing continued. She clamped her hands over her ears, but the noise grew louder, echoing in her skull. How is this possible? She thought. Suddenly, the forest grew unnaturally quiet. No wind, no rain, just silence. Amber's breaths came shallow and fast as she stood up, turning in place. The shadows between the trees seemed to move, converging toward her. From behind, a voice whispered, "You can't leave me, Amber. You never could." She spun around, knife ready, but no one was there. Then the ground beneath her gave way. With a scream, she tumbled into darkness, landing in what felt like dirt. Amber's flashlight, miraculously still in her pocket, flickered on. She was in a narrow tunnel, the walls lined with rotting wood and earth. The air was thick and suffocating. She coughed, struggling to stand, but as she turned, her heart nearly stopped. The tunnel stretched endlessly in both directions, but carved into the walls were names. Dozens of them, some she recognized, missing people from the town, including her uncles. The realization hit her like a freight train. This is where they disappeared. Her phone buzzed again. She hesitated, but retrieved it from her pocket. The screen was cracked, but the message was clear. Welcome home. Amber's flashlight began to dim again. She frantically shook it, but it was no use. In the fading light, she saw movement ahead, a figure crawling toward her on all fours, its eyes reflecting the faint glow like a predator in the dark. "Stay back," she screamed, brandishing the knife. But the figure only laughed, its voice a distorted echo of her uncle's. "They all thought they could leave, too," it rasped. "But the house chooses who stays." Amber turned and ran, her feet slipping in the wet earth. The laughter followed her, bouncing off the narrow walls. The tunnel seemed to twist and turn, defying logic. No matter which way she went, she ended up back at the same place, a dead end. And there, etched into the wall, was her own name. "No!" Amber shouted, clawing at the dirt, trying to erase her name. But the harder she scratched, the deeper the letters seemed to sink into the wall. The laughter grew louder, joined by whispers, dozens of voices, overlapping, calling her name. The figure crept closer, its limbs contorting unnaturally. "It's easier if you stop fighting," it said, its face now inches from hers. It wasn't just her uncle anymore. It was everyone who had vanished, their faces shifting and melding together like a living nightmare. Desperation surged through Amber. She gripped the knife, slashing wildly. The blade connected, and the figure recoiled with an inhuman shriek. Amber seized the moment, smashing her flashlight against the wall. The weak bulb exploded in a flash of light, revealing something horrifying. The tunnel wasn't made of dirt. It was flesh, pulsing, alive, and breathing around her. Amber screamed, the walls pressing in. "You won't take me," she cried, stabbing into the wall with all her strength. The tunnel quaked, the voices screaming in unison. A blinding light engulfed her as the ground gave way once more. She woke up sprawled in the middle of a dirt road, the rain now a drizzle. The house was gone. The forest was silent. Her phone lay beside her, dead and cracked. Amber staggered to her feet, her body aching. In the distance, she saw headlights, a car coming her way. She waved frantically, relief washing over her. The car stopped, and the driver, a kind-looking older man, stepped out. "Are you okay?" he asked, concerned. Amber opened her mouth to answer, but the man's face twisted into a familiar, malicious grin. "You didn't think it'd let you go, did you?" The last thing Amber saw was the house reappearing in the distance, its doors open wide, waiting for her.